All right, everybody, officially welcome to our November meeting. I'm Chris Marcinek. I'm the president this year, and I am very happy to see all of you here. And thank you for taking care of that Maryland PPA business. I would like to introduce you again to our current board members, because these are the people who are working really hard to make your membership more and more valuable. Anne is our chairman of the board. Tommy, up there, wave your hand, Tommy. That's our first VP convention chairman. Marcy is still on here. Yep, Marcy's our second VP membership. James, there's our treasurer, taking care of the money. Amy, I think I saw Amy on here. She might be on the second screen. She's our secretary, and she is rocking it. She does our minutes in like 14 seconds. And then we've got our members at large who are helping us direct the organization, and that's Laura, Erica Beck, driving her kids to Taekwondo, Paul Biederman, not sure he's on tonight, Carol, I see her, and Stephanie. Yep. All right. So the board focuses on three main ideas when we make all these decisions, right? It's to educate and inspire you and to elevate your photography. And to do that, we count on committees and volunteers. And shortly, we're going to be talking about some of those. But first, I would love for you to get inspired by watching something special that Hugh Moore has put together for us.
Wow. Oh, it's all right.
That was wonderful, Hugh.
That was impressive.
Doesn't it make you want to belong to that group? You're already in it. That was great. I love that. I've seen it several times, and I love it more every time. So that kind of gave us just such a great overview of many of the things that we do, right? And lots of those things are done by committee. So we're going to talk about that for just a short time. And I'm going to ask the committee chairs to give a short, like literally 1 to 2 minute overview, so you can learn maybe which one you want to be more involved with, because the more people we have on the more committees, the better our organization will be all together. So I'm now going to share my screen with you. And the first person I'm going to ask to talk to us is, oh, well, these are our standing committees. We've got a bunch of committees that are kind of behind the scenes: charter and bylaws, election, legislative committee on unethical practices, and finance and budget committee. And then we've got the special committees, and these are the ones that are responsible for, as it says, developing and implementing strategies that have to do with you guys, the members, to keep engagement, retention, and growth. And the first one of that is membership. And Marcy is here, but also Erica is here, and they've decided Erica's going to do the talking today. So she's just going to tell us a little bit about membership.
So I am very excited to be the head of the membership committee, and I would love to have the help of some people in Maryland. My personal goal is to grow the Delaware membership in our Maryland organization, because we no longer have one in Delaware, which is why I'm with Maryland.
Really?
We have a wonderfully thriving organization. We have such support from our membership. You know, when I was working on my CPP. I had many people reach out to help me. So I really would love to grow our Delaware membership and our Maryland organization. So if you are someone that enjoys talking to people, meeting new people, you know, and think you'd be good at that, I would love to have you on the team. Of course, you know, the saying goes, many hands makes light work. So I think we're great. I think we're going places. I think we have a very bright future, and I would love to grow our membership and bring more people along with us.
Thank you, Erica, and thank you, Marcy, our current membership chair. Thanks, you guys. Social committee, that's Laura. Laura, you want to say a few words?
So there's 3 parties parties that we do: annual picnic, the holiday party, which is right around the corner, and then the image competition. I always need help organizing it and getting different food or decorations. So if anyone wants to help out with that, it's always a nice time to get the big crowd of people together and mingle and chat and just enjoy each other's company.
Cool.
Celebrate, you know, what we've done all year.
Thank you, Laura. That was great. Thank you. Image Comp and Awards. Lydia is going to talk to us for a minute.
Thank you for inviting me to speak tonight. But the image competition is one of the many important committees that we have, and we do quite a bit. We have 4 different events happening on any given year. We're going to start this year with a January critique program, and kind of getting you guys into the beginning stages of competing. For those of you who need a little help getting there, more will come after Thanksgiving. Then we have our 2 regular competitions in March, March 27, July 24, and the annual will be October again. Upcoming in the near future is the award banquet, which will be at the December 3rd. So I would say if anybody's willing to give our social committee a hand, please do, because we want this to be very special and we want to celebrate everyone. So let's go. Give Miss Laura a hand, please. Thank you. And also my team, I want to recognize my team who is helping. Jay Cathell, Ellen Zangla, and Julie Kim is our judge procurer. So thank you guys. You rock. Without you, this cannot happen. So thank you.
Can we add Christina Martin into there too?
Christina Martin is the awards, merits and degrees.
Christina, did you want to say anything about merits and degrees?
Yes. So merits and degrees, most people, if you don't already know, you can earn merits and degrees for classes attended, for print competition, awards, that type of thing. So we are getting ready. Julie is on my committee, and we are getting ready to send out the form that will need to be completed online. Usually we send it out by December 1st. We ask that you have it completed by December 31st, and then we will award those, anybody that is that wins, anybody that earns a degree, that will be given at the banquet with the April convention. Yeah.
All right, awesome. Okay, and programming. So that one has to do with me, and it's when we evaluate, develop, and offer educational programs for you guys. So what might that look like, right? So for 2024, we are trying very hard to stick to the 4th Wednesday of the month to be consistent again, so everybody knows what to expect. We do have planned in-person meetings and Zoom meetings throughout the year. We've got the 3 image competitions, as Lydia said, and as Tommy told us, we've got a convention. Tommy, you tell us the dates and anything you want to about convention.
Right now, the dates are scheduled for April the 11th through the 13th of April for 3 days. And if anyone is interested in joining the convention team, you know, we're more than welcome. You're more than welcome to come and join us and help us out so that our convention will be the best that it can be, you know, for 2024.
Thank you, Tommy. Tommy's been working hard behind the scenes, getting that convention right. It's a whole year job. And in addition, when the months that we have a Zoom meeting, one of the most important things that we do, I keep hearing, is that we actually get together and be with each other. So in the months that we have Zoom meetings, we're going to try and make what we're calling outings. So that's not like something that is scheduled, but it's something that we're going to plan. Like a friend saying, hey, I'm going to take my camera and I'm going to the Eastern Shore. I want to photograph the ponies on Assateague. Who wants to meet me there? So it's going to be things like that. I think that will be fun and just more opportunities to get together, which is kind of when we shine, right? Okay, so maybe you noticed that we had dates and ideas, but no specific programs, right? So we have a few that are in the works for 2024, but we want to make sure that we bring topics and speakers that inspire you, help you be a better photographer, and spark your creativity. And to make sure that we hit the mark on that, we're going to be sending a survey right after this meeting. Please check your email and complete the poll. So you have until December 3rd to share your thoughts. So make sure that you tell us all the details on that poll so that we can make sure we're bringing you the programming that you really want. And then we'll announce the results at the holiday party on December 3rd. So don't forget, right after this meeting, that's going to go out. You're going to see an email. Tell us kind of like your interests and what you want to see. It is time for the drum roll and a very big announcement. Hugh Moore has developed something that I know many of you are going to find really important to your growth as a photographer. So I'm going to let Hugh tell it.
All right. Hopefully you can hear me.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Well, that's progress. Thank goodness we are in the same house. We decided to swap computers. So what I'm going to tell you about is a program called the Craftsman Accelerator program, and that's CAP for short. And so what is CAP? So CAP is a speaker development program. It's designed to help MDPPA members that are pursuing their photographic craftsman degree or current craftsman holders looking to develop a new program. And the program is basically designed to assist you in developing your core concept, building an educational and engaging presentation, developing marketing tools, and giving you exposure to a broader audience. So what are some of the things we're going to focus on in this program? So we're going to help you develop the course description so you can define to attendees, what they can expect to gain and how it aligns with their current skill set. This becomes kind of the vision statement for the program as we move forward. So it helps us kind of make decisions about how the program should be set, that we're checking off all the commitments that you've made to those that attend. We'll help you out with the bio. That's kind of your way to introduce yourself to the potential students and help them understand your accomplishments and a little bit about your journey to get to this point. We'll help you actually put together the presentation, which will basically align the length of the program with the learning objectives, helping you create a visual tool that emphasizes the key elements that you're trying to teach versus a script that you're going to read. We'll also discuss some logistics here, breaks, question and answers. We'll spend a little time talking about how we can take this short Zoom program and convert it into a half or full day program as well. So there's the opportunity for that. We're going to help you develop some marketing material. So develop graphics that can be used on pretty much any social media platform or on a website. Additionally, we'll help you create a promotional video that kind of brings your program description to life, is really the purpose to that. And we'll also get you feedback from a panel of photographic craftsmen that actually have done this. The MDPPA Programming Committee and the Board of Directors will also give you feedback on the program as well. So what are the outcomes of this? So once you've successfully gone through the program, we'll offer you a spot on the programming calendar. You'll obviously receive speaker merit for that presentation. You'll have the potential opportunity to turn this into a half or a full day program. Again, a spot on our programming calendar, and you'll receive speaker merit for that presentation as well if we move forward with that. In the end, we'll give you an endorsement of your program to the surrounding community PPA affiliate clubs and encourage them to have you come and speak for their groups as well, along with feedback from our members on how much they enjoyed your program. So we'll provide that feedback. So what's our investment in your success in this program? I just wanted to share this, these numbers with you. We're projecting that to complete this program, it's going to require about 40 hours of our team's effort to support you through the process. So in other words, if you took your $250 membership fee and back that into it, it's about $6.25 an hour for this program for us to help you. And that's if you didn't take advantage of anything else that MDPPA offers to you. So this is like a really huge membership benefit that we'll hope people will jump in on. How long do we expect the program to take? We expect it to take 3 to 6 months. Keep in mind, 45 days of that period will need to help promote your program. So if it's a 3-month period, 90 days, half of that time is actually going to utilize to actually get people to come and see your program. So it may sound like a lot, but really, it's really, really not. So how do you apply for the program? This is super, super simple. So if you're an MDPPA member, go to our website, log in, then you're going to look for the Craftsman Accelerator program. So if you go to the 3 lines on the side, it will give you the drop-down menu for, you know, the different tabs that we have, the different pages, and you'll find the Craftsman Accelerator program. Simply click on that. It'll carry you to a page that gives you a brief description of the program. And at the bottom of that, it will actually pre-fill with all of your membership details. And all you have to do is hit subscribe. Once you hit subscribe, you're going to get a notice on the screen that says you've been subscribed. Congratulations. And you will also get an email sent to you that confirms that you've subscribed for the program. The next step to that is we're going to send out an email to you, thanks for your interest. And we're going to ask you to kind of give us a basic understanding of what you kind of envision for your program to be about. And on 12/15, we're going to review the applications that we've gotten in, and we're going to reach out and schedule a short 15-minute conversation with each of those people to kind of further understand where you envision your program going and how you envision it helping our members to grow as well. On 12/22, we will announce the initial inductees into the program and the next step in the process. So that's kind of an overview of what we've designed here. So hopefully there's some interest behind that.
Any questions for Hugh? I see Stephanie's
Oh,
pretty
awesome.
excited
No, it's fabulous.
Yeah.
I think that's really supporting our members doing some things and giving. I mean, I'm a teacher, so I kind of know what you have to do those things, but a lot of people who aren't in teaching don't. And I think helping people along to share their knowledge and do it well is fantastic.
Anybody else have a question for Hugh? How about that name, the CAP program, or the CAP, Craftsman Accelerator program?
Quick question. Can old farts get into this thing?
Yeah.
The hardest part of what I'm finding about this degree is the hardest thing is to find groups that will sign on to listen to you. And I've done a few of them. Well, 2 of them in Pennsylvania. They have a very small membership up there. Actually, I have about 4 that are in groups of about 8 each, maybe. So finding places to give these extra lectures seems to me to be the hardest part of the thing. Has anybody looked into some of these other organizations to see if they're willing to?
So Webb, let me start right from the beginning. I think you should look at doing a super one-day class through PPA. That also gets you speaking merits. And then from there, you can start looking at associations and other people. If you're on Facebook, there's a group. There's affiliate speakers group that you can put your name into the hat and see if they will take you. But super one days are a great way to get started.
Well, this sounds like a great program. I think it's good. I think it's a wonderful idea.
Yeah, I think it's
For
fantastic.
one thing, it's going to spread individual knowledge because everybody does things a little bit differently. And what I've found from almost all these lectures, well, I've been doing this for 28 years now. I think I've photographed every way that you can except jumping out of an airplane. and taking pictures. As a naval aviator, I do not believe in that. But I've done underwater combat, weddings, portraits, just run the gamut, sports, a lot of it. And each time I go to one of these lectures on one of these subjects, you may not pick up much, but you'll pick up one or two things, even with all the experience, that maybe you haven't tried or that somebody else has tried that nobody's ever heard of. I remember some of the early ones on digital, and everybody, oh, no, film's going to be here forever. No, that, okay. So you pick up a little hints from a couple of those digital meetings, and you can actually go out and take pictures with a digital camera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's a kind of a weak example, but I'm sure everybody has gone to a lecture where they know 80% plus, but you pick up a few little tips that maybe improve your value as a photographer or your methods as a photographer. So I think this sounds like a really great program. I think somebody was brilliant to put it together to try to move outside of the immediate organization. And when you give these lectures, you get feedback. So maybe the lecturer also picks up a couple little hints that.
Oh yeah, it is a well thought out program web, and you're going to be able to see everything on by tomorrow for sure. There's be a new tab that you can go and check the whole thing out. So that's exciting. All right, to keep on time, I just wanted to ask, James, did you want to say anything about anything that costs money?
No, I was just going to make a comment. I realized as Chris was sharing with you, that we're going to do a mix of Zoom and a mix of in-person meetings. A little bit of the driver there is most venues around Columbia, apparently everywhere, even when I talked to the folks in Pennsylvania, they're changing the pricing on their meeting rooms. And many of them are going up 300, 400%. So a little bit of what we're looking at is a mix of programming and just, again, as Chris said, trying to find ways to still have that in-person. So have a certain number of in-person, a certain number of Zoom, and just to try to balance out that cost. So I think that's just important for people to understand, because I know we've had conversations with the board and other places. Well, we'd love to keep meeting. We'd love to keep, going to the carriage house every month. They're one of the ones who did increase their rates. And in fairness, that's what the market's charging. So, the market is expensive today. That was the one thing I was going to mention, Chris.
Okay, thank you very much. I wanted to introduce our guest speaker tonight. He's been sitting there patiently and quietly listening to our business meeting. Thank you, Bill Stover. Bill's going to give us a presentation tonight that's called After the Shutter Closes. Bill owns Jover Photo and Fine Art Printing. And Bill, you're in Frederick, is that correct?
You are in Frederick, yes.
And Bill's going to tell us all of the possibilities that exist once you close the shutter and you're ready to print your image, right?
Well, all of them might be an exaggeration.
95%.
Okay, 95%.
All right, enjoy. I'm going to mute myself. Go ahead, Bill.
And I am now a member, so that makes things fun and nice. So it was enjoyable to listen to everything that's going on. But I like things to be interactive. So I only put 942 slides together for this next hour and a half. And I hope that's ready for them. No, actually, I have 7 slides, and on my slides, there are topics, and we'll speak to the topics, but I do want, and hopefully you all will be engaged and join in, ask questions as we go. I know a lot of speakers say, wait until the end. I don't believe in that, because by the end, it no longer has any context. Or what are the options? And, you all were talking about it. And the one thing I want to say is, watching that video, I consider myself an artist more than a photographer, but my art is through my photography. And that's what started this business. I mean, you have Shutterfly out there, you got Miller, you got all these companies, but you don't have a company that you can really sit down and talk to with your picture that can do the large pictures, or do it on metal, or do it on glass, or do it matte print, gloss print, do all these different things. And you don't have a way to get it done locally or with the person. So that's my commercial, I'm done with it. Let's get into what we were saying. The mount and the display, you know, how many types of mounts are out there? I did a quick count the other day and asked for mounting photos. There were, I think, 17,467 pages of Google answers on that. But there are today's traditional mountings, and which are your frame, backing with a mat. The things I've never liked about those, and this is my opinion, is people start concentrating on the frame and not the artwork. Has anybody noticed that these, I don't know how you feel about it, but I like, if you're going to do a frame, I like it to be very simple because it's the artwork we're trying to display. So that's more of a traditional mount. Displays, you know, they come in so many varieties. Everybody here, have you heard of the gallery wrap? We have gallery wraps, we have box mounts or standoffs, floating mounts, and then a million different types of framing. But remember what we're trying, and this is what so many people get caught up in, what we're trying to mount and display is the artwork. You know, we want something that shows the artwork, and that's where your attention is brought to. And I think a lot of people forget about that when they get into these gold ornate frames and you know, triple layer mats and things like that. That's not necessarily what we're after. All right, it's not what I'm after. I'm after to display the artwork. So working with artists, which I do quite a bit, I work with painters and digitize their artwork and then help them display it and choose how to do that. How many different types are there? What do you want to do with it? And what is the subject matter? The subject matter has a lot to do with it also. Are you into landscapes? Are you into people? Are you into abstracts? And then we also get into glissé printing versus inkjet printing. And this is a very touchy subject with some printers, especially here in Frederick. A few of them have gotten a little upset at me because there is a difference between glissé and inkjet printers. An inkjet printer, you'll be lucky to keep the image quality for 10 years because it's laying down what it thinks the image is, whereas a glissé printer, a lot more expensive, both on the dyes. They don't use an ink, they use a dye. And then we mix the dyes together into a more of a CMYK rather than RGB type of Canon that I use. I have 12 different inks that go in it, different colors. And I have 3 different colors of black, if you can imagine that. You know, when I was in school, black was the absence of all colors. So how can you have 3 different colors of black? Well, you can. And I'm sure you've all seen it. I've certainly seen it. But yeah, the glissé printers are going to run more. Boy, their pictures will last a lot longer. Along with that comes the next thing, gloss and matte prints. I'm not big on gloss prints unless we're dealing with a lot of color. If there's a lot of color, then the gloss prints really make it pop. But what is a gloss print? You know, metallic gloss paper, glass really can make the high quality prints go and pop. And there isn't downside to them. And this is where I like to use some imagination and have been very successful with it. And going with you take a piece of metal and you put it in a floating mount, and then you put a piece of acrylic glass, but non-reflective glass on it. So when people look at it, they don't get to see themselves in it because it's so glossy. The non-reflective glass over the top of it actually enhances the picture because they get to see the colors pop without seeing their face in it. So that's back, and everything kind of melts together here. Does anybody have any comments at this point?
So Bill, I think you and I've consulted on a couple of things in the last few weeks. So maybe you have it here, but you know, you've talked about the difference in the different printing, the dye versus ink. Can you talk a little more about that? Because I know I have a printer here. I don't think much about, printing something smaller. I'm like, I can print something smaller and it lasts. I just find it interesting your discussion on that point, the long life of the different print methods.
Well, okay, let's talk about archival quality, museum quality. And I've heard it termed daily quality, which having a printer like you're speaking about would be classified as daily quality. It's not bad. It looks good. You get a nice picture. It's not acid free, which means UV rays are going to really affect it. There's no way you can put that out in the sun. So that's the one thing I would go to on the ink. None of my printers are ink for that reason, is the acidic things that are in the ink. They're just inherent in the ink. So they can't become museum or archival. The reason I mention that is I do a lot of work with museums and digitizing their artifacts and everything. And then they will then ask me to do prints of their of Monet's or whatever. As long as they own them, we don't have any copyright issues. They sell them, whatever. So they want them to be able to last forever. Well, the papers that are used at that point, and we don't get into that until a little bit later, are very important. And then you're not putting a protective UV coating on your picture when you print it there. Everything we do here has some type of varnish to it. And that's what it is. It's an actual varnish that goes on top. Doesn't change the quality of the picture. Doesn't change the picture whatsoever. I have to be careful because I don't use varnish on the gloss papers, the metallic papers or metals. I use an acrylic UV protection on those. But when we're using a varnish, you do add a layer of protection to the colors that you're doing. Now, there is a difference between true color and observed color. And when you're doing the inks, like you're talking about, James, that's an observed color. True color is when we're taking, mine does 12, the other printers do anywhere from 9 to 16 different colors. And once again, it's the way they mix to make a green. Each manufacturer does it a little bit different, but once again, it's a dye with no acidic traces. And by dye, I mean, it's more like a watercolor, if you will, but we can make it very brilliant. It's not heavy or thick, unfortunately, very expensive, but it makes what they call true color at that point. We're actually making a true CMYK image. That's what our painters and artists, that picture that you have behind you would be a CMYK. And that's what the difference is. Would it look different if I did it on your printer on a 5x7 or a 5x7 off my printer? It'd be difficult for most people to tell the difference. I think I could, to be honest with you. I hope I could. If not, then maybe I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. When we're talking about color, we're talking about mattes, we're talking about paper. And this is what I have been very successful with, is helping my clients put these things together so that when the image is displayed, it has a subject. People immediately know where the subject is. Once again, I get back to what is my subject? Why am I printing this? I'm sure, like every other photographer, and just like myself, I currently have 17 terabytes of images, which come out to a little over 3.5 million images that I've got. But I've been doing this for a while. I've been doing it since 1972. I had my own color darkroom, which is no fun whatsoever. I don't know if anybody has enjoyed that. I do want to put a shout out to the other veterans other than myself, as I hope you had a good Veterans Day and thank you for your service, because I did see we have some here, and that's good to see. Did I answer your question, James, or did I beat around the bush and get lost again?
Yeah, and I'll confess, when I engaged you, I needed something larger than I could print myself. And honestly, I started learning. That was one of the reasons I'd suggested to Chris having you, that there's a little more to this printing than maybe many of us, probably put thought into. And so I didn't honestly know the difference till you shared it tonight, the dye versus, the other. So Hopefully
Yeah.
some of my clients I've sold smaller prints to don't call me back in 10 years and say, all the acid has suddenly caused it to go yellow or something, but
Well, that's one thing I have a great, and I didn't tell you this on the ones that you've purchased already, is they have a lifetime guarantee.
okay.
You can put them outside in the sun and the colors are not going to fade. The paper I use is guaranteed at 50 years. The dyes I use are guaranteed at 50 years. And then I put a varnish that's guaranteed for 100 years. And I just tell you who that is. That's Breathing Color. I don't know if anybody's used them or know who they are, but that's whose varnish I use. And they're just a great company.
So I'm looking forward to the other stuff you have on your slides.
Does everybody know what a box mount is?
Do not know what a box mount is.
Okay. I think box mount is one of the best mounts for showing art today, photographic art. There's nothing to take away from what you have created. There's no frame out there. The only thing is, it comes off the wall nicely, anywhere from, I have some people that do 1/4 inch to 2 inches, which I personally feel the proper is 1.5 inch. We all have different tastes. Well, now that I can't buy the black foam core anymore and 1/4 inch, I no longer offer just black and white. If you want it to be purple on the sides, we'll do purple, because I have to spray paint black now. And I've had to get with PP&G, and they've developed a nice paint style for me that will go into the heat presses and everything that I use when I'm doing this. But the box mount is probably our largest seller, and people really enjoy it. The other one that's very big is the smaller Chromolux metals. And I'm finding out that the high gloss metals are not as beautiful as the matte gloss metals. And then Color Light Glass. Color Light Glass is a safety glass. I'm one of the few that is using it because it's more expensive. It's kind of like your windshield, but it's more than just your windshield. It not only will powder, will not have any sharp edges if it does fall and break. And I know that from trying to drill holes through it. Unfortunately, I can't drill holes through Color Light Glass because it just turns into powder.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So you're sublimating?
I do sublimate my Color Light Glass, yes.
Okay. But not the Chromolux metals. Are you sublimating?
I'm direct printing. And the reason I sublimate the Color Light Glass is people want to see it on the back and not on the surface.
So it's you don't have that clearness to it.
Correct.
Mhm.
You actually look into it. That's just what I found people like. And I even put a backing on that. Usually it's a white backing because it really makes the colors pop on the Color Light Glass. But yes, that is sublimating.
Okay.
That is thanks to Epson. I use Canon and Epson. I think Epson has the best sublimation printers on the market. And sublimating is fun. I don't know how long it's going to be around for what we do, but right now people are doing it. I don't think it's ever going to take off on a permanent basis. And then right in there with all that is, you notice the very first one I put up there is probably the oldest one. And the one we see the most is the gallery wrap, canvas, metallic, Pura Velvet. And I just came up with a way today, because a client was asking for it, to use an optical 1 paper. And these are all fine art papers that have no acid in them. And I get them in anywhere from 40-foot to 100-foot rolls that go in the machine. Print resolution and color range. These are things that I have a lot of fun with. If you're sitting there and you're in your editing software, I use Photoshop. There's all kinds of it out there. The optimal print resolution for glisse printing and large prints is 300 pixels per inch. That's the optimal. You can take it up to 600, but you're not really changing anything at that point. Anything below, I would say 75, you're really not going to be able to take it up to a large picture. whatsoever. Now, color range, when I talk about color range, I'm really not talking about color. I'm talking about, people talk about saturation and temperature. Two different things, but they sure look the same, don't they? When you're in your editing software and you decide you want more saturation, that's like, yeah, I think I have a good analogy for it. That's where you take, instead of using a thimbleful of yellow, you use a cup full of yellow. Where temperature is, you're using a thimbleful of yellow, but you're mixing more and more white or more and more black with it to give it, temperature, hot or cold. And that's one way to think about it. The color becomes hotter or cooler when you're doing temperature as opposed to saturation. And then archivability. How many people work with museums or have works that go in there or want works to go in there? It's something I do, and it becomes the length of true color, something we were talking about before. I guarantee the works, and part of the guarantee, just to let you know, is if it falls off the wall, is a mess, I replace it at cost. You don't have to pay, anything else. Okay, we've been.
So Bill, can I ask a question real quick? Let me jump in.
Yeah.
So you're talking about these colors and prints. You actually have a lab in Frederick that you service other photographers. Is that what I understand?
Oh, absolutely. Photographers, artists. I have museums come in, and people will schedule online appointments with me, and we can do everything online. So you don't have to come here to Frederick. Matter of fact, when we're online, if you want to take control, I'll give you control and you can work with it there. This is what frustrated me about the industry when I was, doing my own dark rooms, and that got taken away. And then I learned what the difference was between glisse and ink. I couldn't get anybody to talk to me when I just wanted my picture to be done a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
Danny, that's what we do here is you can come in, we'll sit down, we'll work with you. You can get online and we'll work with you. You can get online and just take over and work with it. We do calibrate all our equipment every Monday morning. That's a requirement here is calibration. And that's going back to true color.
Interesting. Okay, thanks.
No problem. I think when you're talking about gloss and matte, the paper is the most important. What are you going to do? And once again, it comes back to the subject matter. I am a big proponent of matte versus gloss. I like matte finish. I think it brings out more. It gives you more of a depth than a gloss, but that's a personal opinion, and we all have opinions.
So, Bill, when I called you about the couple of pieces I needed for a gallery show, I kind of told you what I was after, and you suggested the two opposites for the two images. One had high color reflections.
Right.
So can you go back to that slide and just kind of talk through? Because I think the conversation you and I had, it might help if other folks heard it.
Sure.
I wanted one kind of dreamy, and you suggested the matte with the matte varnish. Like,
yeah, sure.
What goes into these? Because I honestly I'd never had that conversation until you and I had it. Again, I'm going from the printer on the shelf behind me.
When I look at a picture, and what you sent me was absolutely perfect. One was a high color. It was the pink, correct? And your subject obviously was the little girl's sweater pink.
Yep.
Opposed to everything else. But because of the water glitter of the sunshine and the pink, we brought that subject together best with the metallic paper, high gloss, or what we call vibrant metallic paper. And that really brought those two subjects out very nicely, I think. I think you felt the same way when you saw it. The other picture, and you were talking about two people, maybe it's the wrong term, kind of puppy love, first love type thing. And it was, you don't want that harshness or that brilliance to come out. You want it to be very soft. And once again, this is all about being the artist. And these are the things that we try to assist as we talk with you. So we're not just taking orders. We want to make sure you're getting what you want. And Puppy Love, the Dreamy with a Pura Velvet and a matte finish. And then the other one we did with the Vibrant Metallic with an acrylic gloss finish. Now, I do have acrylic matte finish also, although I've looked at it side by side of identical pictures, and I can't tell the difference between acrylic gloss and acrylic matte varnishes. Just being fair there. But once again, if you look at the C on both gloss and matte, and maybe it should probably be A, it's the subject matter. What is the subject of our photograph? And, you know, I'm a nature and landscape photographer. That's my love. What is it that becomes the subject? Most of mine, it's easy to tell. It's going to be a bird or a chipmunk or a squirrel. Occasionally I get lucky and a bear from a West Virginia bear. Now, I haven't been able to take a picture because I've been too busy changing my pants after they scared the bejesus out of me because they were sitting beside the car when I went out in dark. That happened a couple weeks ago. He was just as scared as I was. So he was running one direction, I was running the other. So anyway, any other questions about that or why it is what it is? Copyright laws. You know, this is something that I really struggled with for a long, long time. Once again, as a photographer, the copyright law is very ambiguous. You know, you own the copyright of the picture you took the second you take the picture. Doesn't have to be registered, doesn't have to be anything, but I will tell you, turn the information on your digital camera so you get the GPS location, you get all that information. As long as you can prove that's your picture, with that information, you own the copyright. It's done. It's that simple. Now you can register it, and there's a ridiculous price that goes with it to register one at a time. But you can only register 750 at a time or one at a time. And one at a time costs almost as much as 750. There are some things I highly recommend that people do not even bother trying to copyright. Pictures of the moon and stars, sunset pictures, sunrise pictures. You know, unless you're going to do something like a pure moon coming up over the ocean that's absolutely glassy, and you've got a reflection, you don't have anything that isn't already out there. And that's the first thing they're going to tell you. And I worked with a long time with a copyright lawyer to understand a lot of this. She was nice enough to explain it all to me. And when you start working with your photo and changing it, you know, let's take the video that we saw earlier. That's artwork in a lot of those pictures. Okay. And once again, the information you take down and put down with that picture, and you can reproduce that information, gives you your copyright. If it's just a picture, you're going to have a very difficult time getting a court to go with you, and unless you've done something to it. My animal pictures, as unique as most of them are, I have the information, but would I ever sue somebody if they stole them from me? Probably not, because it's almost impossible to win that.
So when you are printing things, do you ask for copyrights? Because I know that I've actually had people call me from other labs when people bring my images to them without me knowing it. Do you ever catch that kind of stuff, or do you look for that when people come to you?
I ask them if they own the images. That's that's all I can do. Now, if I know it's yours, no, I won't do it without talking to you. I'm very copyright oriented. I don't want to break any copyright laws. None. If there's a copyright emblem on it, I won't reproduce it.
So it's a no for the old Olin Mills picture that I have. I want you to reproduce for me.
Right. You know, no, if it's got your copyright on it, I won't do it without you knowing about it. You know, no matter what I say, everybody likes traditional framing, don't they, James? But we hand make everything here. I hand make all my moldings. Well, I don't hand make my acrylic non-glare glass. That I don't do. I do cut it, but don't make it.
Bill, did you just say you're not a fan of traditional framing?
No,
But you
no.
own a printing company. Okay.
We do it. And well, that's actually, I love the floating frames.
Oh,
I think floating frames really bring out a picture because people don't notice, they notice the picture because it's floating. And remember, on my side of it, I'm trying to draw the attention to the artwork, not to the frame. And I will always recommend that you go with won't I, Jim, James, a very simple frame as opposed to something very ornate. I don't like to put gold into them or red into it. I like black. Let's do black and then, you know, one mat, not 2 or 3 or 4 stacked, because it's the artwork that we want people to see. When we get too ornate with our frames, now they're looking at the frame and they miss the artwork. Now the framer across the street is all about the frames. Once again, it's an opinion, it's my opinion, and it's, for me, it's right, but for other people, it's wrong. We're very good at making frames. The one thing I will tell you about photography, I thought when I opened up this company, I was just going to do photography and help people with theirs. And I found out in today's world, if you don't do A to Z, you're not going to make any money. And this is my 3rd career. I retired for 5 years, got bored. It's my 2nd retirement, 2nd time I got bored. So this is the 3rd company, and this time I'm doing what I love. Whether I make money or not isn't important. It's working with my hands, helping people, and bringing a service that we haven't had in our industry. You know, it's hard to find printers that give you the personal touch to be able to get exactly what you want. I know I still have 30 minutes. You know, my story is, this is your art. Display your art correctly. I've actually turned some artists that are painters in some cases away from the super ornate. I pay extra for little things like, when you go to a printer, ask them, are they using acid-free mat boards? Most of them don't. You know, I can get, oh, and by the way, James, I did find out where I could get colored acid-free mat boards, but the price is ridiculous. So I don't offer a great deal of variety when it comes to things like mat boards, because to get the bright reds or the blues or things like that, it's just, they're not acid-free if they're affordable. You know, on your paper, ask them, are they using acid-free paper? If they're not, it's just not going to hold the color very long. Even if you are using a glisse printer, it's just not going to. Any questions about what we've spoken about?
I have a question. I have a question.
Yes.
This is Ann. How large can you print?
I can print 42 by 100 feet.
Thanks.
42 feet by 100 feet?
No, 42 inches by 100
Inches. Okay.
feet. Yeah.
Like,
What
good
printer
Lord.
are you using?
I'm using the Canon ProGraph 4000.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. That's the same one I'm using.
Now, are you using the image graph or the ProGraph? It's hard to find people to sell you ink for that one. Although I did find a company out of Texas that's really good about getting ink to me.
So Bill, when you said you guys make your frames, you literally start from trees, pieces of wood?
I mill my own wood up at the cottage, yes, ma'am.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Yeah, I've got my own mill and I've got a planer, and I love doing things like that. So like I said, this time I'm not out to make money. I'm out to just keep myself busy and enjoy doing what I've always loved doing.
And Bill, if somebody wanted to work with you, where would they be able to find you?
Well, online, jover2.com here in Frederick. I would recommend you call first, because I do have a habit of, especially on these days, slipping out and heading up to the mountains. But it's Christmas time, so you won't find me doing that very much at this point. We get fairly busy, or I'm finding out we're getting busy. Actually, December 1st will be our first year in business.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so we're happy about that. We've got 2 museums. We're digitizing all their artifacts and giving them reproductions of a lot of their pictures. It keeps me busy and it keeps me happy. And this May, when I get back from Patagonia, we'll be hiring people, a person, and they'll have to be here all the time. They're not going to be able to get away like I do. It's a nice thing about retired. You get to make up the rules.
I'm
But
going to share a link to your website in the chat. Hang on one second.
But the whole idea is to give people the quality that they really want, the ability to do it themselves if they want to, with us assisting while they're online. And let's chat. Let's get you what you're looking for. I used to use Miller's. I thought they were really good, and they are very good. But try to sit down and talk to Miller's and tell them, well, I have this and I was kind of looking for something like this. Typically, they don't know what you're talking about. Occasionally you get somebody that is an artist and they do. I don't do anything that different from the other companies, but I think we do it better because everything we do is by hand. It's not a machine just stamping stuff out.
So Bill, for somebody they'll just go to your website, sign up for an account, and then they'll work with you, or?
Yeah. I don't do the subscription thing. That's not what this is about.
So when you sign up at their website and you make an account, we're uploading images to you, or can we bring things in by appointment?
Either way, I don't have a preference. It's your preference, not mine.
Unless you're at the beach or the mountains.
No. I'm in Frederick.
But you said you go to the mountains.
Well, I'll just make a phone call. This time of year, I'm not going to the mountains.
Mhm.
It's spring and fall that you'll catch me in the mountains. But yes, it's up to you whether you come in or you load it on. You can upload it and then in the notes say, hey, I want to work with you. Let's set up a time. And I won't do anything till we work together. We'll give a call and set up a time, and then we'll just, like we are now, Zoom.
And Bill, I don't know what's on your last slide, but you also offered Maryland a discount, Maryland members a discount.
All Maryland, yes, all Maryland. I didn't put that in there. All Maryland MDPPA gets 20% discount. You just need to let me know that you've signed up, and I'll go in and put you for what I call my value client. I do not compete, and I don't compete for a very exclusive reason. I deal with a lot of professional photographers. I deal with a lot of professional artists. I deal with a lot of professional photo artists. I'm not going to compete with the people that are feeding the machine. That just makes no sense whatsoever. So there'll never be a conflict of interest of, am I entering any stuff in this of which you are? I won't. A lot of works that I saw just a few minutes ago really can be in museums. It doesn't take much to put something in a museum. I'm sure a lot of you out there do photo restorations also, as do I. Museums love that when they can put the original there, and then you can really see what the picture was back when it first was made. Magazines, are you working for a magazine and displaying there? Is this a personal photo shoot? I really don't do people. I do animals as long as the people will go away and leave the animal and I alone. Because if mom or dad are there, they think they're helping, and anybody that's worked with mom and dad and the animal knows that mom and dad are not helping. And I can, the dog, the cat, whatever, and I can get done in 5 minutes. If mom and dad are there, it's going to take an hour. Libraries. I've got works in libraries all over town. Doctors' offices. Now, doctors typically won't pay much for a picture, but they still want them. Where do you see you either see a TV above the fireplace or you see a nice large picture above the fireplace, usually of the family. And family rooms. so when you're taking your pictures, if you're selling them, and I can tell that there are very successful photographers in this club, just from what I've seen so far. Think about not only the subject, but who you're selling to. Because you could have the right audience, but the wrong subject. Or you could have the right subject and the wrong audience. But there's always, you know, are you going to do the fireplace pictures? Are you going to do the office pictures? Last year, I was very successful in going, I don't know how much people know about Frederick, but every year we have sailing through the winter solstice, where we put the boats on the creek and they're all lit up and everything. It's just beautiful. And I went through and I did pictures of all of them, went to the companies that sponsored them, and you know, those companies were like, oh, that's great, and bought them from me. Delaplane Art Museum has 2 of the pictures from last year's show that they've put up. So it really, what is your love? What is your passion?
Bill, thank you for sharing about your printing and your company, and the 20% off discount is lovely. We'll send that information out in a follow-up email so you guys know how to access that. And Lydia, I will make some effort to see if we can get ourselves out to Frederick, because that looked really cool, and that would be a fun outing. Don't forget about the Bedford Village. Jay, you want to say anything about that? Get them hyped up for it. You do have to, no, you don't have to register. You just have to show up.
You don't have to register. I actually contacted, I haven't spoken to her. I left a message to Della Waters up in PA and asked her if she'd like to join us. She'd be a good local information for where the covered bridges are. But I think there's maps that will get us around for that. But Saturday, we want to shoot covered bridges. I do know from personal experience that Old Bedford Village is a beautiful venue. Lots of old log cabin type buildings, old Western homes, and it'll be candlelit with, so I think up to 30 reenactors in costume in the different buildings. And of course, there's not going to be any heat. You have to take a flashlight because it's just going to be candles. And take a very fast lens. You probably need it.
Is there a admission fee for that?
$10.
Jay, what time are we gonna do the covered bridges? You said, is it morning or midday?
Whenever you get there, whenever you get there. I haven't.
Well, we need to give them a time. So for those who want to do the covered bridges with us, we need to give them a time frame so that they can meet us for that.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm going to be there. I'm going up Friday, and I'll be there Saturday morning. So there's a good chance I may sneak out early and shoot some stuff. My wife likes to hang around and drink coffee and watch the news. I just didn't go out and take pictures, but I'll be back and be available anytime you want. Just pick a time, Lydia.
I also want to show you guys this little thing that I bought from Amazon. It's like a clip-on light. It's very bright, and it would be a nice thing to take with us to Old Bedford. It's like $15. I could put the link, or I can send it out for you guys too. This would be a nice thing to bring along with us. Right,
because you're going to be shooting with available light. That would make a nice key light, and the backlight it with a candle light.
Right.
Lydia?
Yes.
Another thing you could use, I use it down here on the beach all the time, is you can buy a hat that has a light built into it, and that frees up your hands.
Joe, say it one more time. You broke up a little bit.
Put it on your head?
No, it's a hat with a built-in light, a regular ball cap.
Yeah, my husband has one of those.
It has LED lights built into it.
With that.
And that frees up your hands so you don't have to, if you're messing with filters or stuff like that.
Okay. Do you have a link for that?
Do I have a link to? No, it's a Christmas present for my kids.
I know my husband gets them.
Search it on Amazon. Amazon has everything.
Yep, it's a hat with a band and got a light on it, not quite this big. But you can attach this, since it clips, you can attach it to a headband if you want.
I have one that actually.
I think I look pretty silly with that.
I have one that fits in a hot shoe. It does the same thing. I bought it years
This
ago.
one does have a hot shoe fitting too. I stick this on my phone, but it does come with a hot shoe attachment. Anywho, I like them, and it has different light temperatures.
I've got one here. It's not that high tech, but I may order one of those for $15.
Yeah. I'll find it and put a link in the chat in just a minute.
Okay.
Anyway,
Hey,
that's all I
hey,
have.
Jay,
Huh?
I said, Jay, I know where there's a, I mean, I have to go look it up. I know where there's a really nice covered bridge not that far from Bedford. If you send me an email, I've got it saved on my maps and I'll find it and send you
Well,
the,
there's a
yeah.
maps, and there's 7 of them in the area.
yeah.
So,
This one has a waterfall under it, which is really
Right.
nice.
I
Yeah.
want to research, and I have all the information. But I understand there's 7 of them in the immediate area. I think they said it takes about 2 hours to make the complete loop to photograph them all.
That's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Okay, so Brian put something in the chat that is one that's brighter and better. So if you want to grab that before we close up. So what we've got coming up next is Bedford Village, and then the next day is the combined awards banquet and holiday party. And
Where's
so
the banquet?
what's that?
Where's the banquet going to be held?
Laura's gone. It's being held at Center in Columbia, Maryland, the Harriet Tubman Cultural Center, I believe it's called.
Right.
And it's going to be in the afternoon. We're going to have delicious finger food and appetizers, and then everybody, if you would like to, can bring a holiday treat to share.
Works out well.
A holiday treat.
Yes, you can catch it on the way back from Bedford Village like Jay's going to do. Yeah. Yep. And then don't forget, look for the survey. It'll be out in your email box probably later tonight. I really want to hear what you want us to focus on for next year. That'll be very helpful. And we want to make sure it's what you want. So that's going to help us do that. And then the CAP program, you should be able to see that on the website pretty soon too. So lots of exciting stuff. We're getting ready for the next year. And again, Bill, thank you so much for being our speaker and for sharing your printing knowledge. Appreciate it.